Good evening and welcome to the April 23rd, 2024 planning public meeting. Members of the public were provided with the following methods to watch and/or participate in this open meeting. Attend in person at the North Office Community Conference. Attend electronically via Zoom to observe the meeting or to speak to an item on the agenda. You can also watch the live stream by accessing the meeting on the Township YouTube page. And finally, you can submit written comments to the clerk's districts that will provide it to council prior members and will form part of the public record. And now I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please have approval of the agenda.
On myself, the council Williams, that councils off the April 23rd, 2024 council agenda. Planning public meeting as presented.
All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. I would now like to do the indigenous territory acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the land on which we gather today is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and Ute people. We acknowledge the enduring presence of the indigenous people, and we share this land today, their achievements and their contributions to our community. We offer this acknowledgement as an act of reconciliation between indigenous and non-indigenous peoples of Canada. And as we pause to reflect, I think our whole world needs to be stepped in. And I like how the indigenous are trying to reconcile with us in a workable manner. And I hope the whole world will be able to reconcile in the same manner. Let's just reflect on it and hope that it becomes a better one. Thank you. Is there any disclosure between your interest or general nature thereof? Seeing none. Motion to sit and the adjustment, please, Councilor Tilley.
Moved by itself, seconded by Councilor Ossner. The council meeting adjourned at 6:02 p.m. to sit as committee of adjustment for the purposes of holding public meetings pursuant to the provisions of the plan.
All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. And approval of the committee of adjustment minutes, agenda, please, Councilor Wells.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Williams, that the county adopt the April 23rd, 2024 committee of adjustment agenda as presented.
All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Are there any members that have disclosure of community interest under the Municipal Compensation Act under the committee of adjustment? Seeing none, thank you. Committee of adjustment meetings for March 26th, please, Councilor Rossen.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Tilley, that committee of adjustment approved the meeting minutes dated March 26, 2024.
All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. So we are at 6.5. There's nothing. 6.6 reports and recommendations, minor variance and consent application. 6.6.1 report PE-15-2024 contact application for No Gate Holdings Inc. 2852 Cedar Creek Road, file number B-01/24. Notice was given in accordance with the Planning Act. The Secretary Treasurer will keep a record of all persons who provide comment on this application and those who register with the Clerk's Department to request a notice of decision. Those individuals will be notified of the decision when the convening of future meetings on this application. Michael Campos, Manager of Planning, will present this application. Michael.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to get my presentation ready. There we go. Well, good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council, senior staff, and members of the public. My name is Michael Campos, and I'm here this evening to present to you planning staff's recommendation on consent application number B01-24 for the property address as 2852 Cedar Creek Road. The subject property is located north of the intersection of Cedar Creek Road and the Cedar Creek Road on-ramp to Highway 401 West. The portion of land to be severed from the Millgate land holding is 3.03 hectares in size and is proposed to be added to the Teckle Block property, which we will refer to as the receiving lot, immediately to the south, with an existing total lot area of 6.59 hectares. 2852 Cedar Creek Road is presently vacant and was previously operated as an aggregate extraction site. And the receiving lot is developed with an industrial building operated by Teckle Block, which uses the site for manufacturing and the outside storage of landscaping products and raw materials. Surrounding land uses consist of industrial and agricultural uses. And for the purpose of providing context, the subject property, which is highlighted in red on your screen, is the subject of a draft approved plan of subdivision, which establishes the lands with 3 industrial lots, a stormwater management pond, and 1 internal cul-de-sac roadway that provides access from Cedar Creek Road. The subject lands are zoned Z11 industrial with a holding provision, while the Teckle Block property is zoned similarly, but without the holding provision. The lands are designated in their entirety as Highway 401, Regional Road 97, and Prime Industrial Strategic Reserve unserviced by the Township Official Plan. The purpose of the proposed consent application is to convey a portion of the subject property as a lot addition to the adjacent property to the immediate south and referred to as a Teckle Block property. If approved, the lot addition would result in the receiving lot having an increased lot area of 9.62 hectares. So this is an overall increase in the lot by 3.03 hectares, which reflects the total land being severed from the subject property. No new lots are proposed to be created through this consent application. And the proposed consent application has always been proposed and is a requirement of lifting the holding provision from the zoning that's applied to the subject property. As shown on your screen, the map identifies the lands that are proposed to be severed and added to the Teckle Block property. The lands that are hatched in red is the portion being severed, and if approved, will be added to the lands to the immediate south, identified as the receiving lot on the image. Figure 1 on your screen provides a visualization of the existing Teckle Block property. The lands will provide, the additional lands will provide future growth opportunities for Teckle Block and will establish a lot size that is complementary to the existing blocks created and established through the draft approved plan of subdivision. Figure 2 provides a visualization of the existing access to 2852 Cedar Creek Road. And presently the subject property is not constructed with any buildings or structures and is not being actively used for any purpose. And so this access will serve as a future access to the 3 industrial building lots. Planning staff have not received any comments from members of the public related to this proposed application. With respect to agency correspondence received through the circulation review period, there were no concerns or objections to the proposed application. The Region of Waterloo has identified that the owner will be required to undertake a minor modification to the draft approved plan of subdivision to reflect the proposed changes as a result of the consent application. Planning staff have also identified through the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry that there is existing aggregate licenses still being applied to both the subject property and the receiving lot. And so as a condition of approval for the consent, the applicant will be required to amend the permissions of the applicable licenses to remove the ability for aggregate activity to occur on the portion of the lot being conveyed, as well as on the entirety of the receiving lot. And as such, the recommendation of staff to the committee is as shown on the screen, that PD report number 15, 2024 be received, and that consent application B 01/24 being a request to convey a portion of the subject property municipally known as 2852 Cedar Creek Road as a lot addition to the adjacent property to the immediate south, be approved subject to the following conditions: that the applicant submit a reference plan prepared by an Ontario land surveyor illustrating the proposed lot addition to the satisfaction of the Township of North Dumfries, that the applicant pay $220 representing the township administration fee, that the owner pays the township any outstanding taxes in full on the property, that the applicant successfully amends aggregate license numbers 27735 and 607702 under the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry applicable to the subject property and receiving lot to remove permissions for aggregate operations on the portion of land that is being conveyed and for the receiving lot. That the applicant submit a draft of the transfer deed for review. Upon registration, a final copy of the transfer deed shall be provided to the township. That the applicant's solicitor submits an undertaking to register an application to consolidate the 2 parcels. And finally, that the above conditions be fulfilled and the document for conveyance be completed by the Secretary Treasurer of the committee within 2 years of the date of written decision pursuant to Section 5317 of the Planning Act. Otherwise, the approval shall lapse. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak? Nobody online? Cynthia? Councilors, any questions or comments? Seeing none, and I have postponements. Okay, to not have to do a motion. Yes, the motion, Councilor Wolf.
Moved by myself, by Council Williams, that committee report 15-2024 be received, and that consent application B012-B01/24 be requested to convey a portion of subject property usually known as 2852 Cedar Creek Road as a lot addition to the adjacent property to the immediate south, known by its roll number 3001-020006055510. Be approved subject to following conditions: that the applicant submit a reference plan prepared by a federal land surveyor illustrating the proposed lot addition for satisfaction of the township of North Dumfries. That the applicant pay $220 representing the township administration fee. That the owner pays the township any outstanding taxes in full on the property. That the applicant successfully amends area licenses 27735 and 607702 under the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry applicable to the subject property and receiving lot. The applicant submit a draft of the transfer deed for review. That the applicant solicitor submits an undertaking to register an application to consolidate the 2 parcels. Upon registration, evidence of compliance with the undertaking will be provided to the township as soon as possible after registering the consent. And that the above conditions be fulfilled and document for conveyance, the certificate of consent be completed by the Secretary Treasurer of the committee within 2 years of the date of written decision pursuant to Section 5317 of the Planning Act, RSO 1990. Otherwise, the approval shall lapse.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Adjournment of the Committee of Adjustment, Mr. Austin, please.
Moved by myself, second by Councilor Tilly, that pursuant to the Planning Act, the public meeting of the Committee of Adjustment be adjourned at 6:12 p.m.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. And confirmatory bylaw, Council Rose, please.
Moved by myself, second by Councilor Wilman, that the following bylaws be read a first and second time. Bylaw number 348081-24, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council, corporation, the township of North Dumfries at this meeting held April 23rd, 2024.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. And the adjournment, Councilor Tilly, the third reading of the bylaw, please.
Moved by myself, second by Council Osner, that bylaw number 3481-24 be read a third and final time and be signed and sealed by the mayor and clerk.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. And now the adjournment, please.
Moved by myself, under Council Williams, that whereas business for this council planning public meeting has been completed at 6:15 p.m. Be resolved this meeting adjourned.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Well,